Hey guys, it's me again, coming to you live from my couch alongside my needy dog. Today I wanted to talk about something I don't discuss with very many people, and that's depression. So, this is going to be news to a lot of you, not all of you. I have depression. I was diagnosed when I was 17, although I probably had it for much longer than that. I just didn't realize it because I was a kid and because people were really stupid about mental illness when I was growing up. Depression, let me just start off by saying that it's probably one of the most overlooked and misunderstood diseases that there is. A lot more people suffer from depression than statistics and studies would lead you to believe because it's the kind of disease that you can't see physically unless you actually scan a person's brain. A person can go through hoops trying to hide it, as I have for many, many years, and for various reasons. I was ashamed. I wasn't sure how people would react, friends, loved ones, peers. Certainly, I've never, ever, ever talked about it at the workplace. I feared for my job. Depression, contrary to popular belief, is not just feeling sad all the time. Although it is that, it's so much more complex and complicated than that. Symptoms of depression can also include anxiety, clumsiness, forgetfulness, tired all the time, fatigue, a whole lot of physical symptoms that most people wouldn't necessarily come to associate with a mental disorder. I've experienced most, if not all, of these symptoms at some point in my life, and my animals are really getting in the way. I'm really going to have to edit this video a lot. Now, I have been undergoing treatment for depression on and off since I was 17. More therapists than you can imagine, more psychiatrists than you can imagine. I've taken more medications than you can imagine. These medications, of course, are not all created equal. Some of them are more effective than others. Some of them alleviate the symptoms a little bit. Some of them don't work at all. Some of them have been disastrous, and almost all of them have negative side effects. So it's been a pill, no pun intended. As I'm speaking to you, I am on Wellbutrin, busporin, I'm probably butchering that pronunciation, and Klonopin, which I take as needed. And the Klonopin is for my anxiety, as is the busporin, whereas the Wellbutrin is for my depression. I can barely take care of myself as it is, but if I didn't have medication and therapy to help me, I don't know what kind of state I would be in right now. I don't mean to be dark, but that's just the truth. I strongly recommend that you do seek treatment as soon as possible. Don't hesitate just because you're afraid of what other people might think, other people might say. If other people are going to judge you based on something that is outside of your control, then screw them. They're not worth being in your life. I would especially recommend therapy because a lot of times we have people who suffer from depression, all kinds of thoughts swimming in our heads, and they're all jumbled, and we don't necessarily know what they mean, or maybe we do know what they mean, but we're afraid of expressing them. A therapist's job is to listen, to hear what you have to say, and believe me, these people have heard it all. There is absolutely nothing that you can tell these people that will shock them. Every case is different. Some people have much more severe depression than others, and as I said earlier, a lot of antidepressants, anti-anxiety drugs do have side effects, so I would not take any medication without consulting your doctor first. Be sure that it's right for you. Depression has affected my life in a profoundly negative way. Growing up, I was very, very shy. I never felt like I fit in. I was sad all the time, to the point where even my classmates noticed. Nobody did anything, said anything. Like I said, people were dumb about mental illness in the 80s and 90s. I think that there was also a huge stigma around mental illness. It was kind of the elephant in the room. It was there, but people didn't want to talk about it. It was either too uncomfortable or they were afraid. I have had a very, very difficult time forming friendships, forming relationships. I'm not a person who is into a lot of extracurricular activities. I've always been a homebody. I have had many periods in which I've lost interest, even in the few things that I've been interested in. Those were probably my darkest points. I'm gonna say it, I have been suicidal. I've never actually tried to hurt myself. There have been many a time where I have thought about dying, thinking that I was better off dead, that I was just a burden to other people. I was tired of feeling like this. I was tired of suffering. I didn't want to go on. It was too much. I couldn't take it. These were mostly passing thoughts, except for one day. I'm going to say maybe like 8 years ago. It was a particularly bad day. That night, I tried calling my ex, who I was still very good friends with at the time. And at first, she didn't want to chat with me, but we did have a phone conversation. I told her, I think I want to write a will because I think that tomorrow I want to find a building to jump off of. I might have done it the next day if one very important thing hadn't happened, and that was my ex girlfriend started crying. I just said then and there, I can't do this. This is wrong. I can't make this girl cry. She obviously cares a great deal about me. She loves me, and I couldn't do this to her. So I have not had a what they call a plan since then. I would say out of all the people that I've revealed my depression to, about 95% of them have been supportive. It's definitely a very difficult thing to do, to just admit to people that you have a mental disorder, again, because of the large stigma surrounding depression and just mental illness in general. I am keenly aware that this is a disorder that I've been battling for over 20 years now, officially, and I will probably be battling for most of the rest of my life. There is no cure for depression. There's treatment, but like a lot of other diseases, it can be managed, but until they find a way to actually rewire the human brain, I'm probably going to have to learn how to deal. It's unfair. It does make me angry, but I have come to almost accept, almost, that there are going to be periods in which I am going to feel low, in which I will lose interest in the things that normally give me pleasure, the people that I normally enjoy being around. There will be periods in which I will struggle at my job. There will be periods in which I feel irrationally anxious. This is my life. I'm sure that at the conclusion of this video, a lot of people, maybe some who've known me for a long time, will probably have a lot of questions. I'm happy to answer any that you might have. People who might be suffering from depression, don't stay in the dark. Get help. There are so many more resources than there were when we were growing up. Clinics and mental health centers and therapists and psychiatrists and medications, both prescription and over the counter, that you can take. Now, I'm going to stress that these things aren't going to necessarily solve all your problems, but they will help. They will help. All you have to do is take that first step. It can be very intimidating and scary and embarrassing, but I'm going to tell you right now that I've seen firsthand what happens to people who don't address their mental illnesses. It just festers. It gets worse. It totally transforms their character. It's not a place that you want to be. So there it is. I have depression. And now I'm going to go and try to get a workout in before I go to bed. Till then, see you around, guys. Have a good night.